You got to hit them where it hurts. They don't care about angry tweets.
As much bad news as there has been in gaming, obviously the Helldivers 2 turnaround, I feel like, is a big white pill for a lot of people, that if enough people get angry and make their voices heard and leave reviews or cancel subscriptions, whatever it may be, there can actually be some change. And we saw that very, very quickly with Helldivers. Now, people don't trust Sony to maybe follow through on everything. We're still paying attention to what's going on. And obviously, Grums, you've had a lot of interactions with some people that work at Arrowhead as community managers that has been a little less than pleasant. However, at the end of the day, it does feel like a big win for Helldivers 2 fans. And a lot of people are wondering, can we get that same type of win with something like Stellar Blade with this petition?
And what's the petition up to right now, Grums?
I think it's about 81,000 right now, and our goal is 100K. So we're starting to, and for perspective, the Nostalrius petition for WoW Classic servers started well below that until YouTubers got involved and I got involved, and everyone pushed, and we got that to 200K. And I didn't expect, Stellar Blade to ever reach that level because it's a more niche product. But 81,000 is far more than I expected, especially since it's only been since 26. So we're talking like
2 weeks, basically. Yeah,
a little less than 2 weeks. So this is phenomenal, and I'm very happy with this result. So we're prepping now for signatures, and the Helldiver thing, I think, shows us a lever we can use, and that we're not using enough. To give you another perspective, Helldivers had what, 200,000 negative reviews on Steam, right?
In like 3 days.
Yeah.
We're sitting at about a little less than half that. So I think that's a tremendously good sign for the petition.
And I didn't think there was a chance in hell Sony was going to respond. I didn't think that. I figured they were going to continue their course. Because I've talked about it in many of the videos I made, or I said this just makes me sad because Helldivers was so popular. People were having so much fun with it. I had fun with it. The audience that it had created, the community it created was amazing. And unfortunately, Sony's not going to acknowledge this. And then they did. And that was amazing. I still can't believe that Sony acknowledged this. And so that should show gamers that, like, even if it seems like there's no chance, if enough people get together, mobilize, and make their voices heard, a difference can be made. And the same is going to apply to Stellar Blade. If enough people get together, make their voices heard, and that's happening right now. It's not happening quite to the levels that Helldivers was, but it kind of is, because Helldivers was a game that you could play on. There was obviously a huge PC crowd there. So
yeah, the audience and install base is much bigger than Stellar Blade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also the different attitude of PC gamers versus console gamers. I think that had a big role to play when it comes to the differing responses. And also, too, I feel like in general, the controversy over Helldivers 2 is a little bit bigger. Like you're talking about all these different countries that don't even have access to PlayStation Network. You're talking about something that happens 2 months after it's released, after it's already massively popular. Whereas Stellar Blade, even though it is obviously, when you're talking about the principle of the thing, it definitely matters for Stellar Blade. But you're talking about a little less impact on the actual game itself and people being able to play it, but still obviously an important concern than when it comes to Helldivers.
I've been approaching, kind of investigating this a little bit and making video about what's been happening in Sony that could have provoked this response. And if we would look at the last 6 months, there's been a whole bunch of things that kind of created this context as well. So starting from the last year, Sony also laid off the whole bunch of people who's been also in a technical department. Now Jim Ryan left. That means a change of the leadership. That means new management, right? Who's not completely into the ropes. I honestly think that a part of the reason for the Stellar Blade is that people who promised not to touch it are now gone, and new people just don't want to deal with that. It means that we need to push even more. In February, Sony had to adjust their forecast for their earning report, lowering down on 5%. And in a week, Sony actually having their earning day at the 14th of May. And so all of this going on, I think it just terrified the current management at the end, because problem became fiscal. Steam kind of backstabbed them a bit, for the favor of the gamers, with all the refunds being the thing. If there is anything that executives are afraid of, is a bad optics about financials at the reporting days.
That's why it's so important for people who want Stellar Blade to go through to cancel their PSN subscription. That is the main lever. And we saw that. We saw that with Helldivers. People forcing refunds through Steam by asking 6, 7. Some people were asking like 7, 8 times to get their refund until they finally got a human who would do it. That's the type of pressure that's needed. And so, you know, the petition is one thing, but I always said I had an 8-step plan. Another key leg for Stellar Blade fans is you got to cancel those PSN Plus subscriptions.
You got to hit them where they hurt. You got to hit them where it hurts, because they're not going to. They don't care. They don't care about angry tweets. They don't care about a petition in isolation. Now, once they have the petition that reaches potentially up to 100,000 signatures, and they're starting to see that that's translating to people canceling, that's where they're going to start paying attention. But they're not just going to respond to just people being angry online just for the sake of being angry online.
And a petition in a vacuum can't work. It's got to be part of the overall plan. But the other important thing is actual physical delivery of that petition. So the WoW petition was, I think, almost 8 file boxes that I brought over and brought to the CEO, right? That physical weight of all those boxes. And I got so much hate for killing trees from the tree huggers. Oh boy, it's like, oh my God, you've murdered so many trees over a video game. I just put it out there and now I'm gonna get it again.
Well,
it kills the rainforest.
And Amazonia, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, it's Al Gore gonna get you for it. Yeah. It's not about the precedent. It's about what kind of questions this incident raises up. And these questions are quite simple. As a gamer in the first turn, and as a developer in the second. First of all, it's the policies of the refunds, which are not perfect at this point. And if someone buys a project which is not a product which is not been advertised, you know, like, it's a good opportunity to discuss what happens in this case. Now, the second one is the level of influence of the platform on the developer, because we want to talk about it. We want to have better quality. We want to discuss it. I mean, like, we want to have a situation where developers would be able, like Arrowhead, you know, like, to go and with the support of the gamers to improve their condition and the contracts with publishers and the platforms. So this is why those cases are important. And we need to do that, because if gamers would not protect their customer rights, you will infinitely get worse quality, because ideal world for the companies is to create as expensive as possible product with the lowest as possible quality for the lowest as possible price and sell it to everyone and people not asking questions.
And this is also an important movement for, just like with Helldivers, for consumer strength, that you can stand up to corporations, that you can make a change. And so the more wins we have there, the more they're going to start listening.